Hey, it's Ubu, and today we're playing a demo for a game called Wonderland. It's developed by TH Games, it's self-published, and you can find the game on Steam. In my long list of games, I came across this one just recently, and I figured we'd try it out. It looked pretty interesting, and this main menu really threw me off, so it's very unique. Anyways, let me tell you a little bit about the game, and we'll get started. Step into Wonderland, a psychological horror game where every memory is a trap and every shadow whispers the past. You play as Mahdi, a man searching for his missing brother in a world where reality fractures under grief, guilt, and imagination gone wrong. Now that you know what the game is about, we'll go ahead and hit play and see what's up. So, play game. Wake up. Oh. Okay. I'm awake.
Kane, I just arrived. I'm about to go into my brother's house.
Okay, perfect. Keep me posted.
Okay, I guess we're like breaking in. Looks really cool though, look at that. Alright, here we go. I wish there were some more options to adjust some things, but unfortunately there's not. So we'll just gonna have to deal
He
with...
used to hide a key under a small lantern.
Used to hide a key under a small lantern. Like this one? Nice. Like, I can't adjust, like, motion blur or anything like that, so only the graphics settings, so this is kind of rough. Wake up. I am awake. Stop telling me what to do. Ooh. Here we are in a house. Ew, what the heck? Is this a murder scene? What the heck, dude? Oh, no. That's not good. Jesus. What happened here? What am I hearing? Look at the little tiny refrigerator. What the heck? Some weird drawings? Why did it sound like someone just flushed a toilet? I don't know what that was. Huh. Books on the wall. Maybe we need to find these books? Okay.
Don't forget, the answers are in the library. Don't open it without the photo. The photo is torn. 3 pieces. Where did I put them? Without it, the room is silent. But he's calling me. Remember. Remember. Damien, what happened to you?
The 5th of November. I think we can push this. Is there a TV or something on? This has drag marks, right? Why can't I move this? Apparently there's a photo we need to find pieces of as well, I guess. I think it's showing me something. I don't know, can I turn it off? I don't want it anymore. Okay. Is it really gonna play the whole time? Gosh. Okay, this is a picture frame. Date. Okay. Pretty odd start, to be honest. We got some puzzles, I guess, to solve here. Gotta figure it out. Aha, here we go. We found one, I think. Okay, so we need another piece to that. Just don't want to be in that room because of the TV. Gosh, dude. Oh, here's the other one. Okay. Pretty sure I saw that earlier, but not sure what it all meant. Okay, let's go. Holy sprint, we're fast. Oh my god. What did that unlock? Oh, there we go. The key to this? Okay, this just symbolizes the library, I guess.
What the?
It's so dark. Oh, there we
Kane,
go.
something's weird here. The house isn't the same.
Really? You think so?
There are rooms that shouldn't be there.
Oh, well, I already know what this is. Okay. I noticed the paintings in the house are all crooked, so that would be the giveaway, I suppose. Okay, turned on the left. Turn upside down. Okay. Turn to the right. Okay. So this one's upside down. This one's like that. This one's like this. Yep. Nice. Cool puzzle. Oh no. I don't like this.
Daddy hid it. The lever.
A
He
lever.
said you mustn't smile at him. When you see him, don't smile.
Okay. No smiling. What do I do? Don't smile. I figured I'd jump on these, but this is disorienting. Why would I jump on? Why would I jump on them to go up towards him?
Daddy hid it. The lever.
A
He
lever.
said you mustn't
Oh.
smile at him. When you see him,
It's lever, not lever. Just
smile.
kidding. Okay. Behind one of these somewhere. Which one is it? I don't like the breathing in my ear. Well, this sucks. I guess he's gonna kill me again. Alright, we'll keep trying.
Smile.
What happened? Did the game break? What's going on? Oh! Well, that's not fair. The game locked up on me. This is the Oh, I hit my head. Okay, that's great. This is so whack. You would have thought it was at the top. I mean, that would have... Jeez Louise, dude. This is sending me a little bit, to be honest. Let me close all these up, because they apparently get in your way when you're trying to progress. Yeah, I know you're there, whatever. Leave me alone. Alright, cool. Bro, this sound design is like wigging out, too. Like, I assume it wants me to find... Oh, here it is. Okay. You did it. We win. What a blast. Sprint is crazy. Okay, here we go. Whoa! Go this way. This is cool. Uh-oh. That's pretty weird looking. Alright. Alrighty then. Let's move on. Or not. Stop it. Why do you do this to me? What the heck? Somebody threw that mannequin. Or something. Black mannequins. I don't know how that's relevant. Most mannequins I see are white. That's all. No big deal. Doesn't matter. Just an observational comment. Or maybe I have. I don't know. It's been a while. I guess I always see him at the mall, maybe, but I haven't been to the mall in forever. Exit this way. Oh, there we go. All right. Press the button. All right. Okay. All right, we have to. I jumped and I pressed the button. What is this? Wake up. Okay. Not sure if I'm a big fan of this, but what do I know? Well, I missed the button. He's a lot closer to me than I realized, so gonna be trial and error, I guess, here. I suppose I expected less monster chasing me kind of stuff in this game. But it's okay. Just crazy loud. Okay, he'll be there, then we go this way. Whoa, whoa!
What the? That nightmare. Again. Always the same. His disappearance really affected me.
Yeah.
I have to find him.
Yeah. Do we open this? This is a pretty cool little room, though. Look at this. Super cozy. I don't know about the piano, but I like the halberds or pole axes on the wall. Hello?
You have received a new message. New message sent on November 13th, 2026 at 3:32 a.m.
Hey, Mahdi. Saw you didn't pick up, so I'm just gonna leave you this message. You know, I was just gonna check if we're still good for tonight, you know, to go to your brother's factory and all. So, if you see this message, just call me, okay?
To listen to the message again, press 1.
I'm already late. Kane must be waiting for me.
Okay. Is that a female voice for the voice message, or is that our character's voice pitched up? Hard to say. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but... Wonderland. Wish list now. On Steam. Alright, well, I'm back on the main menu, and I'm going to review the game now. If you're just here for the gameplay and just hanging out, I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you again. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into this and start with the visuals. And I would say, visually, the game is fine to begin with. I actually quite like its kind of grungy photorealism that it's going for, especially in the first level. I like the way the house looks and the way it's, you know, populated with all this stuff everywhere, and it looks like a pretty convincing environment. I like it a lot, but I'd say the main menu is definitely a strange first impression with this character just doing this idle animation. It's very odd. Like I said at the beginning, it's unique, but I'll talk more about the main menu and everything as I go on, but visually it's a bit odd, I guess, to begin with. But the visuals in game are very disjointed, and obviously this game is about sort of the character's imagination going wrong, and I assume as they pursue their missing brother and look for him, that part of their psyche is sort of what we're seeing in the game. It's a reflection of their either their trauma or guilt or something like that, and either childhood memories or something of that nature is probably what's coming through or bleeding through out of his imagination into this strange journey he finds himself on, which I think is fine. And as what really drew my attention to this game is looking at the screenshots and everything, and I was like, oh, this gives off kind of a liminal space vibe just on the surface, and it wasn't quite that as much as I thought it was going to be, but this is just a demo. I'm just very mixed on the visuals. I like its presentation. I just think it just along with everything else in the game that I'm going to talk about in a moment, it feels very disjointed, and maybe it's like that on purpose. There's no like consistent theme necessarily in each of the levels. It's just basically the character having a very chaotic imagination, and we're sort of just running through it and being chased out of it, I guess. Very interesting. And I guess the monster looks pretty cool too. It looks really familiar, like I've seen it somewhere before, especially the drawings of him with the big creepy smiley face. That must be in some kind of analog horror or something I've seen somewhere. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling about the visuals. I would just say they're okay across the board. I think my biggest issue is not being able to adjust a lot of the motion blur or camera sensitivity or anything like that, which I'll talk more about later. So it's very quick, and it's just kind of muddy because of that. If I could clean up some of those settings or choose those settings to adjust that a little bit, it would probably look a little bit better, like in motion, that is. But just standing still looking at it, it looks pretty good. So I would say in general, the visuals in this game are just good. Now, in terms of audio, the first thing that really stands out to me is the music on the main menu. It does not give me the impression of a horror game right out of the gate. So I have a bit of tonal whiplash. So I've experienced a bit of tonal whiplash with this game. So the music on the main menu is very dramatic and just almost somber, like something you'd hear like in a soap opera or something, honestly. And then in game, there's all these horror elements and being at like a murder scene in this house and this monster chasing us. And then the main menu just doesn't reflect that tone very well, in my opinion. I'm a little thrown off by it. Like, I don't think the music itself is bad, necessarily. I just don't necessarily believe it gives you a really strong impression of what to expect, because it's just two different tones from the music on the main menu to actually playing the game. So, pretty weird stuff there. I guess, in general, the audio is alright, but I guess nothing really stands out to me, unfortunately. Like, there's nothing that really builds a lot of dread. I guess there's some ambience, more or less, but not really. It's very quiet in some areas, and then the monster chasing is very loud. He screams at you. It's very loud. The voice acting is totally fine. I mean, it's very flat for the most part, but I think it's still acceptable. And other than that, like I said, the audio department doesn't really have much really standing out for me, unfortunately. Aside from it just kind of having some odd tonal whiplash, I think it could be adjusted a little bit to at least help set the mood a little bit better. Either changing the music on the main menu. I'm not saying you have to do what I say. I'm just giving you ideas here. Or just try to convey a little bit more of what your tone you're trying to have the player experience, because just for me it just feels very disjointed and kind of confusing. So I would say for the audio in this game, I would say it needs some work, but obviously this is just a demo, so there's always room for improvement. Now, in terms of mechanics, I would say the game is fine. It's more puzzle focused, or early on at least, where you have to find the photos and then, you know, switch the paintings around, and then immediately find some kind of lever, which causes you to like die over and over again until you find it, which I don't think works very well. I like the idea of that weird hallway, or whatever you want to call it, room where you have to like platform up and look behind the paintings. I actually think that's a cool idea, and I like the puzzles early on. It just feels very fast, like very rushed almost, like, okay, I'm here to look for my brother. You walk into a murder scene of some kind, and then you read a note, and then you find the photos, and then you go through the door, and you switch the paintings, and then you jump the thing, pull the lever, and then it's like chase sequences for the rest of the demo. So it's very quick, it's very fast-paced, it's like sort of just pacing in general, and I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I'm very mixed on a lot of aspects of this demo here, where I think it has good bones, and I just think its execution, like I said, just feels rushed. Like, there's not a lot of time for me to really sink into the feeling of the game, even if it is kind of disjointed. I just think it's very on rails almost. It's so fast, but maybe there's a lot more planned later on, and maybe that's your idea for this kind of game. Maybe you want it to feel kind of chaotic, and I think that's totally fine if that's what you're going for. So yeah, if you're going for a chaotic vibe, I think that's totally fine. I just wish that I could feel a little bit more settled in a little bit, at least to begin with, and then maybe as you play, it kind of starts to pick up the pace a little bit, because it goes from solving puzzles to just like running down hallways and stuff. So I wish it was just a little bit more consistency and what we're actually doing, if there's going to be more puzzles, or if it's just going to be mostly like a puzzle here and there, and then like monster chase sequences. I don't know. I guess I'm just very mixed on the overall presentation in itself, but I think for what we experienced, still, it's fine. Like I said, it has good bones. I like puzzles in games, so it was fun to do those, but they were just so close together that I think it affected the pacing in a negative way. And of course, these are just based on my personal experience, these comments. I'm not trying to like rip into the game or anything. I'm just telling you how it is and what I experienced and how I feel about it. So like having to run from the monster and like jump and press buttons and crawl under stuff, I think works in a vacuum, but I think along with everything else in the game, I just don't know how what we're doing is reflecting the goal of the character in a congruent way, because we're looking for our brother, and then it just throws you into all this stuff where you're, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say much more, because I really don't know how to explain my feelings on this. Like I said, just in general, mechanically, it has really good bones. I like the idea of having puzzles. I just think it feels very rushed, and it doesn't let me necessarily settle into the game a little bit first to really get a good feel for it. But anyways, enough about the mechanics. Now we're going to go on to the story, and the story is very surface level. We're looking for our brother. He went missing somehow, somewhere, and I'm sure that will be explained more as you play the full game, but I think it's fine to start with. It gets me wondering what happened to him and what really all this is about and why we're experiencing these strange events. And like I always say, it's good to have a story at least get me intrigued and kind of hook me in a little bit. If it was presented in a way where I just would say I don't care, then that would be a problem. But I do like your presentation of just the idea of the story itself, and I think it can really go somewhere interesting. So good first start, good first impression with the story. And like conceptually, I think the game is interesting. Like I said, on the surface it looked kind of liminal space like, which in some ways it is, but it's so fast paced and horror forward that it has a unique appeal to it. I just think, like I've said many times now, that some things can definitely be executed a little bit better. And when I say that, I mean like primarily the tone of the game. Is it supposed to be dramatic and sad and chaotic, or is it supposed to be more horror and brooding, and is it supposed to be a combination of all of those things? And if it is, you need to know, or at least experiment with how you place those feelings depending on what you're experiencing as the player. When you're experiencing dread, it needs to definitely reflect that in what you're doing, either by slowing the game down a little bit, having your character do some monologuing about something, and reminiscing about memories of him and his brother. Same thing if there's a sad moment to have there, you can do something like that as well. If it's supposed to be horror focused and chaotic, you can do the chase sequences. And I think where you place those like a puzzle, it can come together in a really strong way. But like I've said a few times now, the demo is short and just so quick paced that it's hard for any of those moods or themes to really have a moment to shine. But with all that being said, I would still say the concept is pretty fascinating, and I think a solid first impression for getting me intrigued in the story as well. So great job there. So in terms of performance and settings, I would say the game performed totally fine for the most part. I had that one moment in the platforming section where the game just kind of froze on me for like 10 or 15 seconds and then caught back up. The audio was still playing, but visually everything just locked and I couldn't play. So that was pretty odd. Other than that, I would say that performance is fine. I meet the hardware requirements on the recommended side of things, so I would say it performed as I expected. And then we'll go over the options now, which I have a lot to say about. So we'll click options here, and I was looking at these earlier. I like kind of the zoom in and out here. I assume this is our brother. It kind of reminds me of an anime character, but nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty cool. But we have our video settings here. And as you look at the video settings, they're very bloomed out, very bright, and almost a little too bright. It's like the contrast has been flipped on them. I would maybe tweak the contrast on these a little bit, get the darkness back on them, because I can't even read the resolution. It's so bright. I find that strange. But anyways, we'll go over these a little bit, and then I'll talk more about the settings just as a whole. So window mode here at the top, so you have your full screen borderless and windowed mode. And then you have your resolution here in this box that I can't read. It's so bright. And then you have your SPF cap here, and then your VSync checkbox here. If you check VSync, you can't do that. It'll lock it to your, I assume your monitor's refresh rate. That's what it's supposed to do. And then it'll go default unlimited after you uncheck that. So I clicked mine on 60. So you guys still have your resolution scale here as well. And then for your quality settings, I have everything on high for the overall quality. And you can change these to your liking independently, such as view distance, anti-aliasing, post-processing, shadows, global illumination, reflections, textures, visual effects, foliage, and shading. So I'm glad to see all of these options here. There's just a few missing that I wish we had, such as mouse sensitivity, motion blur, and things like that. And maybe if I adjusted some of these, that might sort of fix my issues with feeling as though there's so much motion blur. It's just very odd to look at when you're in quick motion with the camera. Just also not being able to adjust the mouse sensitivity. The camera sensitivity is pretty wild in this game. Makes it feel even more crazy, in my opinion. So hopefully you can add things like that in the future. And I highly suggest you add audio options. I don't see any anywhere or where to find them. Because when you go back here, it just shows your input guide, which is your controls. And your input guide has AZERTY and QWERTY keyboards. I'm not familiar with AZERTY keyboards, to be honest with you. So that's pretty cool, though. So here are all your options that you can look at. I don't believe you can actually rebind them. So no, you can't. Which is, I think, okay. It's not that big a deal. But to some people, I'm not sure. It might bother them. But like I said, with the settings, I really wish we had some camera sensitivity options, some motion blur options, things like that to fine-tune the experience a little bit. And audio options would be so welcomed, because the music volume on the main menu is like insanely loud, at least on my computer. And I basically had to turn my computer all the way down to even sit here and hear myself talk. So I think you could definitely improve the settings in that regard, and I think it would go a long way. So the performance in general, I would say, is good, even with a weird sort of freeze that happened on me. So I could still think it maybe could be fine-tuned a little bit. And the settings, while I do enjoy the idea of having the options to change all of the graphic settings, I still think there are a few settings missing that would really go a long way, like I said. So that could use some work. So my final judgment for the Wonderland demo is I would say it needs some work. The game has good bones. I enjoy its visual presentation for the most part, and its story elements are, I think, very interesting and had me intrigued. And I think just the issues I have with this demo is that the tonal whiplash is probably the biggest detriment to the overall experience, because I just don't really know how the game wants me to feel as I play it. It's just very chaotic in some places, and like I said, you could just execute them a little bit better, experiment with the pacing of the themes and the moods that you're trying to have the player experience, and I think you're going to do a great job with that. Like I said, this is just based on my experience, so don't overthink it or anything like that. If you have a vision in mind and you think that you can make this make a lot more sense going into the full game, then I think more power to you, and you should stick to what you want to do with this game. I just hope my feedback in some way can help you maybe recontextualize some of the things you presented in this demo. That goes along with the mechanics as well, where I like what you have going on to begin with, and then it all just sort of rushes its way to the end. And I'd like to be able to just settle in a little bit more and really take in the experience, interact with the world some more, and really investigate this strange place we're in. And I think if you allow the player to do that a little bit more before you sort of sending them spiraling down, being chased by a monster, I think that could go a long way. Like I said, the performance is pretty solid. I think it could be fine-tuned a little bit, having that weird lock-up sort of freeze situation I had happen, and the settings are acceptable. I just think that there are some additions that would be very welcomed, such as mouse sensitivity, motion blur, and also audio options. Obviously, this is a demo, and I totally respect you going out of your way to make a game to begin with, and I think that's really cool. So I hope you keep up the great work and continue molding your style and experimenting and figuring out what works for you. And I hope my review in some way can help you and benefit you in some way. I always say, though, my reviews aren't meant for me to tell developers what to do or, hey, you should change this. It's to just give you ideas. And I always encourage developers to stick to their vision, but don't be afraid to sort of think outside the box sometimes. And you never know, something might really click with you that you may not have thought of before, and you can then add that to what your vision is and help mold it for the better. Like I said earlier, just keep trying, and I think everything in this is going to work out just fine. It just needs a little fine-tuning, in my opinion. So I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors and your work. Tell me what you think in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this game? Do you agree or disagree with me? Do you have anything to add? Do you just want to say hi? Let me know what's up. And don't forget to check the pinned comment below for the links to everything and go play this game for yourself and form your own opinion. If you'd like to support my channel, hit subscribe, leave a like, comment, and share the video. I'd greatly appreciate that. I think that's all I have to say about it, so thank you for watching my video. I hope you have a wonderful day, but don't forget.